Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's episode of Poetry Live, where tonight we read some of my poetry, which I'm very, very excited to share with you as I share some more of the Cats of Hashima Island. Hello Shadwick, hello Darby, hello Sarah, come on in. Excellent, well I hope you enjoy it, Sarah. Hello Colorado, this is Yorkshire over here. You're a long way away, but I hope it's nice weather over where you are right now. Hello Susan, come in Susan. Come in. How is everyone? Well, I'm pretty sure I know how everyone is. I've just seen almost all of you for the previous show. Hello Arcadina, hello. Come in, take up a seat. Brilliant, Susan, I'm glad you're not missing it. That makes me great. We like sunny. I miss the sun. I've heard rumours that the sun exists, but I'm glad that it's sunny over there, Darby. Hello again, Arcadina. Come in, guys. Oh, wow, you guys are just killing me. You've got nice sunny weather over in the States. And I'm having to spend, all my time in the car with the heater blasting all of its warmth. I don't believe it, Sarah. I don't believe that a land can exist without rain and frost. And Maine as well. Wow, you guys are just killing it for sunny weather. Hello Ruby, hello, come in, pull up a seat and welcome to tonight's show. We'll get started in another minute or so as we go and read from my poem, The Cats of Hashima Island. Really? 7 years? I couldn't begin to imagine that. That's incredible. Thank you. I'm glad you like these scopes, Darby. That makes me very happy. So I'm glad to have you. Does the sunshine start to get on your nerves then, Sarah, after you have it for a while? I'm aware that we miss the sun over here in England right now, but we just haven't seen it in ages. Well, I'll trade you. Hello, Michelle. I will trade you some of your sun for our rain. Can't get further than that. We should do house swapping. House swapping could work well. Yes, good. We'll trade weather and climate. I can go and get myself a decent tan. You can enjoy rain. It's all good. All good. Hello, Michelle. Hello. Good to see you. Come in, take up a seat, sit yourself down. I like snow for taking pictures of. Unfortunately, I live in the middle of nowhere, so when I get snow, it's a bit of a problem. And I'm not driving a 4x4, I'm driving a little Corsa, so when it snows for me, I'm a bit stuck. I'm in the middle of the Yorkshire countryside. Hello, Chris. Chris is over in Leeds. So Chris knows what the Yorkshire countryside looks like, I'm sure. Hello, Chris. Hello. Come in. Take up a seat. Yes, snow's pretty to look at. Not so good if you're stuck in it or trying to get your car started in it, or indeed if your car is parked on the top of a hill and you've got to drive to the bottom of the hill to get to a shop. There's a chance that I might be parking my car in the pub car park over the winter. Well, I'm glad you made it, Jackie. Thank you for coming and taking up a seat. We will get started then with my epic poem, The Cats of Hashima Island. And I should point out, when I call it an epic poem, I'm not using it in the modern term of this is really, really cool or big. I mean, as in I kind of modelled it on the actual epics, things like the Kalevala, the Iliad, that kind of epic school of poetry is where this came out of. So, for those of you who haven't heard me read from this before, hello Gabby, hello. There's an island off the coast of Nagasaki in Japan. It's called Hashima Island. In 1890, the island was bought by the Mitsubishi Corporation, and there was coal beneath the island, and they turned this tiny island. It was 160 meters wide, 500 meters long, I think. Really tiny. Yes, 500 meters long, 160 meters wide. We are talking tiny, tiny here, and they turned it into the most densely populated place on the planet. 5,200 people were crammed into 50 concrete tower blocks. This became its own self-contained town. It had its own school, its own hospital on there, its own cinema. It had everything. People were crammed in there, and they lived there for 84 years. For 84 years, people lived crammed into this concrete island. And then in 1974, the price of coal crashed. People weren't using it for fuel as much. They switched for oil. And Mitsubishi evacuated the island. They just took everyone away from it. It didn't serve its purpose. They just took everyone out of the island. And this has always fascinated me. And the pictures of it are incredible when you look at it. But I was reading an account by one of the kids who grew up on the island, who was talking about being on the last boat. The pictures are, if you saw Skyfall, Sarah, the island that Bond goes to in Skyfall is Hashima Island. But because there were lots of boats coming over to the island, there was a rat problem. They brought cats over to deal with it, and this kid recounts the fact that as he was leaving on the last boat, they left all these cats behind. They had lots of stray cats on the island to deal with the problems, and all they could hear in amongst these concrete tower blocks that were just completely dead and silent were the sound of cats crying out and cats running down to the docks. And so my poem begins in the collective voice of these cats, the cats of Hashima Island, who describe being abandoned by the gods, as they call them, abandoned by humans, left alone, frightened, scared, hungry, some of them who tried to jump after the boats, drowning in the water, some of them who'd been kicked back by some of the men with broken ribs. They're sat in the dark, alone and afraid. So tonight, we join those cats. And tonight, a lone voice that's not of the group will enter. We do not know why. We are the young cats barely stopped being kittens. We are the ones that the gods could not stomach to drown. We rub our heads against the old cats who do not ask the question of the night. We ask them, why have the gods left us to die? They swipe at our noses, bite at our necks, and we huddle against concrete and shudder. We have ceased to ask questions of the night. We are feline silhouettes in the moonlight, silently staring across the sea. In the distance, the lights are changing. We have been left behind, abandoned by the gods to die. I am separate from other cats. I do not share my voice in the chorus. I am Fogroll. They are afraid of me, and they are right to be. Toughest cat, meanest cat. I am the Thug King. I bow to no god, take no treat from no god. will be pet to no God. They have left their flock. They have not left me. Cut after cut after cut. My claws dig in the rough fibres of tatami in a gym. It stinks of sweat and youth, strength, humiliation. It stinks of them that would come out of here broken, downcast. Stinks of the weak that would seize a cat and pull at its tail, that would break its ribs and throw it from child to child just to watch it scream. When they were finished praying with their prey, bloody, the cat would crawl back, approach, nuzzle, whine, and beg forgiveness. In the end, we are weak and pathetic as them. Look at him. Whining, squatting, listless, lost. They sit on the same concrete where gods would bundle kittens into rice sacks and drop them in the sea. They sit on the doorstep of a graveyard. Those cats, those weak pampered cats who belong to people. They don't know how the Hessian chafes against your young tender skin, don't know what it's like to listen when they're still too young to put any words in. Don't know what it's like to hear the slap as the sack hits the water, to watch the unravelling of a weak knot. Those cats have never had to stand on the heads of brothers or sisters, have never had to drown them so they could grab onto mooring rope and climb out like the men would climb at the gym. They do not know. They do not know. I shall teach them. Gods we do not need. I am Fogwall, and this is my island. In the gym, I call them my clouder, my cats. Soon, the island's education will begin. One of us is a female tiger-striped cat in the corner of a vacated apartment. Pregnant and lonely, the tiger stripe gives birth beneath the television stand, hours after the gods have left. A litter of 5. She is frightened. We are all frightened. There is no future for them now. We do not judge. We cannot judge. We are frightened. We are cold. We are alone. We start to leave our places, retreat in the cold corners. With well-groomed white fur, one of us steps through puddles in an alley behind a canteen. Her paws turn to grey. She shivers, is hungry, can feel acid burning against her stomach, climbs the top of overfilled garbage bins where black plastic bulges out. She slits the lining. The smell of days-old rotten food. She is hungry. She eats. We are bawling fists now, fighting in the street. We are naked. Blood runs down noses, down elbows, over knees. We drag, we bite, we reach for stones. We reach for stones. We are exhausted, and in a courtyard we fight over a bird. Clumsy hands wrap around its feet, its wings. Blood drips on our fingers, on our face. We stand still. We crunch bones. We eat. When we finish, we toss it aside and we cry. We are not cats. We do not judge. And I'll end it there. And there, as the cats begin their transformation into something that is not a cat. Dark. Yes, a wee bit dark, very dark. But there will be light. I'm sorry it was too harsh for you, Susan. I apologise for that. Then, well, I'm glad that my replays make the commute fly by. It's good to hear. I'm sorry I made you cry, Susan. I do apologise. That was you just trying to do that, and of course, within the story, in that moment of abandonment, the cats do turn, develop fingers, develop arms, develop faces, and turn into something else. It's a dark start. Oh, that's so sorry. Oh. Listen, I love cats. They're wonderful, wonderful, creative, well, wonderful apart from when they go and stick their bloody claws in your armpit whilst you're sleeping. Loki. That was the very beginning, Jackie. That's the opening. It's the opening overture, really, of these cats being abandoned and kind of disintegrating and then pulling themselves out of it and becoming something else and transforming from what was left behind. I wrote that, Susan. I wrote that. That's come from my own twisted mind. That was from me, which was mostly written with my old cat sat trying to stop me from doing anything productive. Yes, Fogroll is the evil cat's name. Fogroll is the Thug King. Well, I'm glad it touched you. I'm sorry you had such a negative reaction to it, Susan, but I've always heard it said, you know, better that people have that strong reaction than to feel nothing at all from it. But yes, absolutely, and this is it. Fogroll isn't simply an evil cat. Fogroll has been created by his environment. He is a beaten, stray alley cat who's been created by that environment. He's been surrounded with. When I wrote that, when I talk about this coming from epics, actually, I'm not sure how well you guys know your classics, but I based the character of Fogroll really on King Creon in Antigone by Sophocles, which is a wonderful, wonderful play. Precisely, it's always going to be tough for anyone in that situation, and so what we'll see as the poem progresses, Arcadina, what we'll see is Fogroll try to actually create a situation where these cats can survive, actually bring order to them, bring life and survival to them. And in doing that, not always making the best decisions. Fogwart is inherently flawed by his past experiences, but in the same way that in Antigone, King Creon brings about horrible sort of death and destruction and curses upon Antigone, and threatens to bring them upon everything because he's so resolved, so incapable of seeing what the city wants or the needs of the people. And that's where I think, well, thank you, Susan. I'm glad. One day it might even see print. We never know. Fingers crossed. It's still got a lot of work that needs to go in there. I think it was interesting for me reading it to you guys, actually, and seeing your reactions. Because actually, even consciously whilst I read that, there were bits that I edited out and actually thought perhaps they were too harsh to keep in there as I was going through there. Oh, they do. Cats have amazing personalities. Lots of the personalities involve sleeping on people's faces, for instance. Other personalities involve stealing people's food when they go into the kitchen. Other times they want to go and slash your legs to pieces because you're holding a piece of smoked salmon and trying to make a bagel. Cats have wonderful personalities. And I'm sure we all bear the scars of cats when those personalities involve jumping on you because it's raining outside and they've come in through the window into your lap when you've been on the computer and just scratched all down your arm. I love cats. I'm wounded by cats. My arms are covered in scars by cats. Which only show up when I tan in the summer, and then I get these little white marks and people think I've been self-harming, and I'm going, nope. That's just the joy of kittens when they don't know how to retract their claws. Well, this is the thing, Susan. This is the thing. And it's kind of difficult when doing it in small bits. I try not to dwell on the fact. And this is the thing. If you are going, for me, if I am writing about something that is violent like that and does have those dark elements, it kind of does need humour to balance it out. Unfortunately, we need that dark overture before we can get into those other elements. And perhaps actually looking back on it, perhaps there should be elements for more humour in that opening. And I think actually I might consider revising it based on the feedback tonight, which is wonderful, actually. Wonderful to have that. Cats are such a source of humour as anything else, and that's the wonderful, lovely thing about them. I suppose for me, in the back of my mind, writing something that was that dark, going to that dark place, I could at least smile and think about Loki, who was my cat. Loki's no longer with us, sadly, and I can't keep cats in my current place. But other cats that my friends or family have had, lovely, wonderful things. And so that has kind of balanced it out whilst writing it, but perhaps, I need to bring more of that. Oh, totally, they are old souls, and that's one of the things that I wanted to explore with having the collective voice in there. Really? Well, that is lovely, Susan. I'm glad your cat feels safe and at home. And I'm glad you liked it, Sarah. I know. Strange, isn't it? What can I say, landlords? Not always liking cats. Oh, wow. That's what my cat. My cat, how old was he? He only got to about 5, actually, bless him. Poor thing. But I've got a wonderful picture that I should actually Instagram. I think I've got the picture somewhere of my cat Loki attempting to eat a Balrog. He tried to eat Gandalf and couldn't really eat Gandalf. Gandalf wasn't tasty for him, so he knocked my little Gandalf figurine off the windowsill. And as Gandalf was stood in front of a Balrog, he then tried to eat the Balrog. And it's sad when they go, isn't it, Susan? But 15, it sounds like he had a wonderful, wonderful life. I picked mine because he of the litter, he was the fighter. Even as a young cat, he's like this big. You know, he just wanted to attack your finger and play with it and tussle with it. And so, growing up, because I got big hands, we used to enjoy. I could kind of, because he didn't like it when I read. If I was reading a book, he'd have to sit on my book or sit on my face or something. God bless him. So I'd have to read with one hand and with the other hand wrestle him and tickle him on his belly. So I'd be sat reading and wrestling with the cat as it play around. Yes, he was a wrestler. Fantastic fighter was Loki. He only ever lost 2 fights in his life, to praise him. One was when he tried to start a fight with my snowman that I built in the garden, which had a scarf around its neck because it's a snowman, and Loki thought that he could attack the scarf, pulled it off, and I watched frozen with horror. Oh, please do post your cat pic on Insta. Please do. I watched in horror as the head of the snowman just fell straight towards him. And God bless him, he had 9 lives, so he managed to jump out of the way just in time. And the second fight he lost was when we had a wild, overgrown garden out front, and we lived just near a natural snake reserve in England. And Loki was out playing in the garden out front, and as he was playing on the path, he suddenly stopped, and I was watching him through the window as a grass snake just slid out onto the path and past him, and he was petrified. Loki never went into the front garden ever again. He wouldn't go anywhere near where he thought the grass snake might be, and I, as someone who's terrified of snakes, never went in the front garden either, and I always legged it through there, especially when I was returning home from work at 1 in the morning. I would run to my front door. But yes, that was my cat. Partly the inspiration for that story, partly based on the Cats of Hashima Island, partly based on Greek epics and Norse epics and all these wonderful things. I can't stand snakes scare. Let me tell you, I don't have a picture of the snake. As I was frozen in terror and Loki was frozen in terror, we were both frozen. Well, Sarah, you can deal with all of my snakes. I will go and post pictures of Loki. I'll post them on Insta. I will. He says, can I actually get hold of any pictures of woo, a rat? Whew, I never had that. Loki had a habit. Loki couldn't kill anything, by the way. He loved to hunt, but he didn't like to kill. And he was always very, very sad when he killed anything. I think I'd take the rat over a snake as well. And he used to bring mice into the house. So he had to be very, very careful. If he'd gone outside, not to let him in, unless he carefully had everything removed. Where is Loki? Albums. Oh, here we go. He says, making sure that he can do this one because he's got wires attached to his laptop. That's Loki attempting to eat a Balrog. Lovely ginger fellow. But I'll post that one up on Insta as well. It says, yeah, isn't he nice? He didn't like to eat everything. But hey, that was my cat. My cat. Very, very nice cat. So yes, that was that. That was Cats of Hashima Island. I hope you guys didn't mind that story. I'll show it again. Here we go, Susan. Here we go. That's Loki attempting to eat a balrog. Well, I'm glad you could catch me live. And I'm glad that you liked the poem. Thank you, Sarah. I might go and do some more of the poem at another time. Yep, he was a biter for anything. Well, thank you, Jackie. I'm glad you liked it. I will do some more at some point. Unfortunately, it's not the main piece that I'm working on right now. I'm still trying to get my prose piece sorted and out of the way. But, well, I'm glad you liked it. I was afraid that it may have distressed you too much, but I'm glad that you liked it. Excellent. That makes me happy that it moved you guys and that made you all smile in that way. Excellent stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for that this evening. Thank you for being such a wonderful, supportive audience. We will do some more. My novel is fully typed up, Sarah. My novel is typed up. I just need to edit it now. So that's going to be, most of my weekend will be spent working on that. I need to upload a lot of videos for the website as well. So uploading videos to the website, doing that. I'm going to go take a walk towards an old ruined abbey. I can do, on a good day, I can type up 15,000 words a day. But I did take a week off work to do it. So I did take time off work to do it. But yeah, I got there, I got it sorted, it's all up there, I can edit it, and that's a novel, and that's set in Grimsby, England. Probably about 8 days. So probably about 8-9 days to type it all up. And those were pretty much full days. My novel is set in the town of Grimsby in England, which has had massive economic collapse. So it is fiction. It is. So for those of you in the States, Grimsby is like Detroit. Not heavily. I've had bad experiences going through them in the past. I'm actually looking at. I was chatting to the guys over at a company called Unbound. If you guys have ever seen that, Unbound, they're like Kickstarter for books, and I was thinking of going that way when I actually tried to get it published. As I had a few years ago, I had an agent. And I spent 3 years knocking drafts back and forth with an agent, and it didn't work out. And actually, it was kind of 3 years of my life that was just tied up with something that never came through. So I'm a bit wary about going down that route again. I think when I've got a novel that I feel comfortable with and happy with and confident with, I'd like to go that way. It was a learning experience, Susan. It was a learning experience. Absolutely. But it's all above board. Take a look at Unbound. Take a look at Unbound. It's a much better thing and actually, as well as that, the payment's much better through Unbound as well. They don't give you an advance up front. Hello, Avery. Hello. I didn't see you come in there. Hello. Yeah, it is hard, Susan. And do you know what? The novel that I was working on a few years back when it was there. Well, thank you. Thank you. That would make me delighted if you did, Sarah. That would. What I'll do is once I've got it typed up and actually have it in a format that I'm comfortable with sharing, I will start to share it on here. I'm thinking of doing some. I'm thinking of doing some of my short stories as well on Periscope. So I think coming up in the next few weeks, I'll start doing some of my short stories on Periscope, which are also set in Grimsby and about a similar thing. And then I'll start showing my novel when it's good as well. It's very different to my poem, Susan. Not nearly as sad, and it tries to be a bit funnier. Oh, I love it. What would your children's book be about, Avery? I'm glad that you like to buy it. Well, residual, I will start sharing it. I will start sharing it online when I'm ready, so you can decide then whether or not you'd like to buy it in the end. But I've always wanted to write a children's book as well. Children's books are fun, aren't they? Oh, fab, Sarah. What's it about? You have to tell me what it's all about, and I'd be fascinating to hear about that. 12 children's stories, Susan. Are they published? Can we see the children's stories anywhere? Or where are these children's stories that we could see? Yes, I know you've done 12, Susan. Where are they? Oh, fab, he illustrated them. 3 translated them. Oh, which ones? Wow, Susan. Where can we find out more about these wonderful, wonderful things? Okay, Susan's got photos. Susan's got photos up. He says, okay, that's something for me to go and look for. What was it about, Sarah? What was your unpublished novel about? I completely understand what. Oh, do put them up then, Sarah. Do please put them up. I understand, by the way, people who want to keep it to themselves when they do stuff, but it's fun to share as well, I think. It's a scary thing, but it can feel really, really good when you start to do this and people engage with it. I know. You've got a oh, awesome! Great, because what I can do then is when this finishes in Catch, I can go and grab that off of the. Hey, here we go. I've found your blog, Avery. I am there. Well, oh, this is awesome. This is what I like. Oh, Friday. This is the nice thing about doing the Friday one. Go on, Avery. Put it up again, Avery. Put it up again. And ends up having to save. Oh, she's left us on a cliffhanger. Ends up having to save who? Or what? Sarah? Okay, Susan, take care. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Oh, wow. Avery, I'm looking at the wonderful, wonderful pictures. I had a wonderful time tonight, Noel, reading. Thank you very much. Oh, excellent, Sarah. That sounds fantastic. Brilliant. I'm just on Avery's blog. She's got kids making maps for their stories. Damn the character. Well, actually, no. The character limit kind of worked there, Sarah, because it created a nice bit of suspense. The first story I ever had published at the grand old age of about 7 years old, which was in a school anthology. I had to make a map for as well, and I've still got a picture of the map that I made when I was 7 years old and the little story that went along with it. Oh, this looks like great stuff. Great stuff. Oh, I wish I had a teacher who would do stuff like that. You guys are so awesome. You're all working on so many cool things. I get really excited. You'll have to, guys, please tweet me when you're doing this cool stuff. Please Please tweet me links to stuff. Oh, that sounds fun, Sarah. That sounds fun. I haven't written fantasy in years, but I used to love making maps for my fantasy novels. This is actually one of the notebooks that I had when I was 16, with a dragon on the front and a castle, because it's for a 16-year-old guy who wants to write fantasy. And look, there was the map. There was the map for the second fantasy novel I ever wrote. Neither one was published. Neither one was anywhere near good enough to be published. But that was it. Oh, fab. Well, thank you for sharing that, Jackie. Thank you. I'll try and give that a check and take a look at that after this. That sounds wonderful. He says, drinking a deep gulp as folk come through and watch on the web. Hello, web viewers who are invisible. No, my fantasy novels were awful. They were truly awful. My friends, some of them have copies of them, and sometimes they'll still laugh about how bad some of them are. They were. I wrote them when I was kind of between the ages of 15 and 20, and they can stay. They can stay there. I will go back at some point and write fantasy again, because I'm jealous of all these people writing fantasy. I moved away from it to write about my hometown, but at some point I will go back and write fantasy again. I would love to go back to it, and occasionally I pick up a notebook and start scribbling away, and we'll sketch out a map or a few scenes here and there. Well, hello, Sarah's mum and sister. How are you? Hello. I did see the view count pop up there. I hope you guys are very, very well. Hey, I can screenshot. Good, I screenshotted those details. I didn't realise that I could do that. This keeps freezing. Oh no! What a shame. Is it freezing for everyone? Or I know connections can be a bit squiffy sometimes. Well, hello Shoshana, and hello Julia. I hope that you're having a wonderful afternoon over in the States. Yes, it is afternoon, isn't it? It's about 2 o'clock. So I hope you guys... 2? Yes, it's 2. It's 2 over there, isn't it? It's 2 over in California. I hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon over there. And we've just finished reading my poem, guys, and we're just chatting about all the wonderful writing and work that everybody in this group seems to be doing, which warms the cockles of my heart. Ooh. I've lost everyone. Hello. Oh no. Well, Periscope's done that fun thing, ladies and gents, where it just decides to take everybody out and make everyone disappear, which is a shame. You've all disappeared from me. So I guess we'll just cut an end to the evening there. There'll be no show over the weekend as usual, but we'll be back again on Monday, ready for some more tales of smiting from the court of King Arthur, and then some more poetry as well. I can't wait to share all that with you guys next week. Thank you so much for being such a kind, supportive audience for my work tonight. It really means a lot that you're there for me. And please do give me a shout on Twitter or via Instagram or however you want to give me a shout to let me know about all the cool stuff that you're working on. I get really excited by it.